Hey, it's Ravenclaw29 here, and I know I'm back on vlog form after doing like semi-formal reviews for my Sailor Moon reviews, but bear with me, I do have more actual formal reviews planned, but the techniques of that. Anyways, so last night was free movie night at my college, and me and a couple of my friends went to see Gravity because, free movie, why not? And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I think it was really good. Now, this review will have spoilers, so be mindful. That being said, the premise isn't all that hard to figure out, so anyway, I digress. If you don't want spoilers, go. If not, just you can stay here. Um, People asked me if it was a good movie, and I think it was, but I would have to say whether or not you like this movie really has to do with if it's your type of movie, because I could definitely see people hating this movie. It's a survival movie. So, if you like Hatchet, Tracks in the Snow, heck, even Blair Witch Project, you'll probably like it. If you think those two books and movie were dull as tar, it's not for you, because it's, yes, a lot goes on, but a lot happens, but not a whole lot goes on. It is just basically this one person surviving. The cast is tiny. Physically, we see 3 actors the entire time, not, counting the corpses, which we see a couple of corpses, so if you're woozy about that, you know, and we hear voices on the radio, but other than that, we have a red shirt, George Clooney, and Sandra Bullock. Of course, the red shirt dies within 5 minutes. So it's basically 2 actors this entire time. Actually, it's only 2 actors, like, the first maybe 1/3, and then it's basically just Sandra Bullock. Anyways, it starts off with these 3 astronauts fixing the Hubble space station, and the Russians destroyed a satellite, which they do by shooting it with a rocket. Doesn't seem like the best idea to me, but hey, I'm not NASA, so what do I know? Anyways, something went wrong, shocker, and because of it, all this debris and space junk from this shuttle and space station started orbiting the Earth's atmosphere really super fast and set off a chain reaction by destroying other space stations and causing that orbital to orbit the Earth very fast. And when I say fast, I mean fast. I don't know enough about science and gravity and everything to know how all this space junk stayed in the Earth's orbit. I would have thought it would just, disperse into space, but I'm an English major, not a science major, so I'm not even going to pretend to think I know anything about that. Anyways, it's orbiting, it makes the entire orbit of the Earth in about 90 minutes, so you could imagine how fast that would be. 90 minutes to go around the entire Earth. This is moving fast. I mean, think of the fastest thing you know and add a million. And obviously it's not good, and it is gonna hit the astronauts, so they try to get back to the space station, but they can't. Sandra Bullock becomes detached and starts spinning out into space. There's no friction in space, so she's going indefinitely. And at this point, again, if you get woozy, this is not the movie for you. We saw it in 2D on a normal screen, but I heard this is in 3D IMAX. I would suggest you probably don't see it, because just in the normal screen on 2D, I felt like I was gonna throw up. It made me so dizzy. Actually, I had popcorn, and as soon as she started spinning, I just handed it to Anne, my friend Anne, and I was like, I can't eat this. I'm gonna bomb. I had to look away from the screen like 30 times. So maybe it's better in IMAX or 3D. I'm just gonna say I would probably vomit. But that's not the cinematography was really great. I mean, you felt it, like you felt Sandra Bullock's. It was. I mean, it was meant to be uncomfortable, so it worked effectively. Anyways, George Clooney comes and saves her because he's got this like rocket pack that's really freaking cool. I don't know how it works, but kind of like in WALL-E when he's shooting the, which actually she does at one point. She saves herself with a fire extinguisher. It's kind of like that. Just shoots substance out and makes him go in any direction he wants. So he saves Sandra Bullock, and they go back to the red shirt and see that he's dead in quite a cool way, actually. He piece of space junk went through his helmet, and his entire skull, his brain, everything is gone. You see, like, Phantom of the Opera style part of his face, and everything is gone. It's like in really bad animes when they forget to animate part of a character's, body, which, you see, I know they do it a couple times in Sailor Moon. Someone will open their mouth, and they forget to animate the inside of their mouth, so you just see the background going past. It was like that in this guy's skull. It was so gross, but really cool. So they go back to the space station, everyone's dead. So the guy's just like, okay, we need to get to the Russian space station before that shrapnel comes back and we die. So they make it to the Russian space station, but George Clooney, like, Sandra Bullock gets a hold on, George Clooney doesn't, and he's out of fuel for his rocket ship. And so he goes off into space, and we have a moment, and she finds herself in the Russian space station, which is also basically destroyed, less so than theirs. They still have semi-working escape pods, and she gets into that after kind of a Sailor Moon transformation scene. Like, girl, she takes off her outfit and just goes like, ah, and both me and my friend Anne at the same time were like, Moon Prism Power, make up! Because that's exactly what it looked like, when Asagi, like, stretches back. And she gets into this escape pod and gets to the Chinese station, which is conveniently not all that far. And the rest of the movie is just basically her trying to get back to Earth, which she does. Spoiler, she does. However, it was really funny because I'm not sure if it's just the stark contrast of seeing hills and greenery after looking at space for so many hours. Actually, not like an hour and a half. This was not a very long movie at all. But she gets back to, and the scenery looks less real than the outer space stuff, and I'm not sure if it was just the contrast. But of course, me and my friends Ann and Audra were being dicks, and we were just like, watch, she gets out, and like she's in enemy territory, and she gets shot as a spy or something. She doesn't. We don't know what happens to her. Assumingly, she gets rescued. But yeah, as a movie, as quality of the movie goes, not plot-wise, just straight-up quality, it looked fantastic. The camera angles were all great. I'm not sure. I'm thinking they couldn't have actually been in outer space, but wherever they were, the anti-gravity room was really. Oh, that's my phone. Wherever they were, it was really effective. You know, she was crying and her tears were going off. Everything looked great. There's a fire at one point, and it just looked awesome. The fire in zero gravity. So it was a very, even though there were only a couple of sets, and everything else was just the backdrop, everything looked great. The acting was always really good. Sandra Bullock is always a good actor. George Clooney, though one note, was a fun character, and the red shirt's a red shirt, so. Story-wise, I like survival stories. One of my favorite books growing up was Tracks in the Snow, and that's a very basic survival story. I still love Blair Witch Project. So, personally, I thought it was great. It had us on edge. Both me and Anne were jumping every now and then, and, you know, the suspenseful parts were suspenseful. They had a couple of jump scares that were effective, and, I really think it was interesting. However, if you are not into survival movies, you will probably hate it. I could definitely see people seeing it being boring as tar. But I highly recommend it. As long as you don't get motion sickness, go see it. It's a good movie, if you're into that kind of stuff. And I will return with my Promise of the Rose review, which I will hopefully get shot sometime. In the name of Gravity. Peace out, bro.